In 1952, Dwight Eisenhower's campaign could be boiled down to a couple of key issues: cleaning up corruption, fighting communism, and ending the Korean War. But what did it really boil down to?
I for president, I for president, I for president, I for president. You like Ike, I like Ike.
I Like Ike was the first presidential television advertisement campaign, and it was a huge hit. Adlai Stevenson, his opponent, didn't believe in such nonsense, so he bought 30-minute blocks on television to give himself a chance to more eloquently explain his stances. He believed the American people wanted somebody who spoke thoughtfully to the issues at length. He was wrong. Spoiler alert, Eisenhower won. Too late, Stevenson tried to fight back with his own song, which sucked.
Vote Stevenson, vote Stevenson, a man you can believe in, son.
It was a turning point in American politics. Radio was out and television was in. Every politician since then has had to embrace the aesthetics of it or get left behind. What's the new political meta? That's right, shitposting. Don't get me wrong, I love the government. You love the government. Everybody does. Whether it's Gavin Newsom's Twitter account where he does a blatant Trump impression, or JD Vance's millennial throwing in one swear word to show he's relatable, or Mamdani's walk and talk, we're finally in the era of the social media politician. And I'm not bothered by that. As much as FDR's fireside chats might seem classier, if politicians started announcing policy or changes on radio, nobody would ever find out about it. But what I am bothered by, or more worried about, is what I'm going to term in the most obnoxious video SAE way possible, the Wendy'sification of government communication. Here's a tweet. She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Sparkle emoji. Paul, who tweeted that? Is it a fan cam of Sabrina Carpenter? Nope, it's the US Department of Energy about a piece of coal. And I've been thinking about that tweet for a while, because is it funny? Kind of, sure, whatever. But I think it also represents something much more sinister, a sort of cultural ticking time bomb, one that's finally coming to fruition. Because sometimes you're scrolling and you see a video and you're like, oh, football, I love football. And then, whoa. Or this one. Oh, it's the who do you think you are, I am guy. And then I guess the pins are Iran? Oh, what about this one? I love Wii Sports Resort. Oh. And you're saying all of these are posted by who? Oh, the White House of the United States of America? The government is putting out some weird stuff. It's starting to not just use the internet, but it's starting to use the language of the internet. And I want to talk about why I think that's a really, really bad sign. But to understand why they're talking like this, we've got to go back a bit. All the way back to the 2010s. It may be hard to believe, but there was a time when people were pretty excited about the Twitter accounts of brands. Here's an article called 20 Times That Moon Pie Was the Weirdest Brand on Twitter in 2017. But nobody was king of the social media brand more than Wendy's. Article after article was written about their brand strategy. Their social media team's Ask Me Anything got over 9,000 comments. Ellen talked about them. Their posts were shared organically by millions of people without them having to pay anything for promotion. How? Because Wendy's discovered essentially a cheat code. They dared to ask the question, what if a brand was like a person? While Wendy's still announced things on their accounts like, hey, new burgers, they also roasted their commenters and other competitors. If you reply, I will buy the whole Wendy's menu right now. Prove it. Picture of trash. Here's your proof. Thanks for sharing your baby pictures. Bazinga. The cadence of Wendy's tweets isn't HR approved. They don't tweet like MasterCard. They tweet like a regular snarky person. That's why it's funny. If I was posting stuff like this, it wouldn't crush, it wouldn't do well. The humor lies in the distance between front-facing brand and behavior that's antithetical to being a front-facing brand. It may be hard to believe, but it genuinely was a big deal. So much so that when I was 15, I'd never been to Wendy's, didn't have Twitter, and didn't live in the US, and was still familiar with their social media presence. I was reading listicles of top tweets where it's like, who's running this savage page? 3 dogs in a trench coat pretending to be human. And I was like, oh, Wendy's, you can't be saying that. You're so bad. And it's been hugely influential. Whether they started it or just popularized it, online the last decade has been defined by their social media strategy. Let's play a quick game. About 2 years ago, when I was still making terrible TikTok videos, I made a post and one of the 13 comments was, "Oh, that's not." Who made that comment? Was it A, a friend, B, a lover, or C, vegan cheese company Violife? Lock in your answers. Yep, it's C, vegan cheese company Violife. What does this TikTok about a guy who's confused Challengers the movie and the Challenger disaster have to do with vegan cheese? Nothing. But there's an inherent absurdity to the internet, the speed at which we consume information, the amount of people and brands yelling for attention at the same time, and the joke that Wendy's and now lots of other brands capitalize on is, isn't it ridiculous that we're doing any of this at all? That's why 50% of low-level brand advertising is about the fact that it's low-level brand advertising. Help, I lucked into this job and need to get 1 million views. The social media team making coworkers do a trend stuff. I'm Moon Pie and my boss is making me tweet this. In 2026, there's this idea that by winking at the audience will share you, and it's true, they will. And now it's not just fast food or vegan cheese brands doing stuff like this. It's everyone, including government agencies. Here's TSA being silly. Oh, classic. We're TSA, but also we've got hot takes. We're fun. It's even become a brand staple for like police departments. Look it up, you can find lots of BuzzFeed-style listicles for top times police departments were savage. But don't be confused. The joke for all of these, from Wendy's to Louisville PD, the joke isn't haha we're funny. The joke is this brand is behaving differently than a brand traditionally would. Because while the language of the internet might be humor, if that's the case, the primary dialect is irreverence. Nothing is sacred. And Wendy's is fine, whatever, but now the government is starting to talk like that too, and not just ours. This is a video produced by the Iranian Ministry of Propaganda. It's a bunch of Iranian talking points. Also, they're all Lego people. Why is all of this taking place in a Lego world? Well, for one, it's nice to have something that's recognizable to Western audiences, but more importantly, it's precisely because it's weird that they're in a Lego world. Weird enough that people are talking about how it's weird. Articles have been written about it. By using children's toys to talk about serious issues, by being irreverent and absurd, they gamed the algorithm and got into the public consciousness. If it had been a bunch of Ayatollahs sitting around and being like, the US is bad, it wouldn't have spread anywhere, nobody would have consumed that. It leaned into the language of the internet, and the internet spread it. For the adept viewer at home, you might see a parallel between that Iranian Lego video and this bowling one, or the Wii Sports Resort one. What's the connection here? What does Wii Sports Resort have to do with the war in Iran? Nothing. The connection is that there is no connection. It's funny in its randomness.
Random!
If it wasn't, in my opinion, in kind of bad taste, I'd probably think this was pretty funny. It plays to my Gen Z absurdist, nothing matters sensibilities. And if you look around, the government has started to post lots of stuff like this. Either the jump cuts of media with the military being awesome.
Finishing this fight.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Don't think about the fact that Braveheart is in this and that's in Scotland, or that Iron Man Loki fights the US government a bunch of times. Or they're the recruitment ads that are deliberately playing on video game nostalgia. Or here's one where Donald Trump crafts, I guess, patriotism in Minecraft. It's all clearly internet culture, irreverent, frenetic, absurd, and the thing is, it's working. All of these posts have been huge hits, whether on Twitter or TikTok. I'm talking millions or tens of millions of views and shares. But underneath the fact that it travels well and the surface level messaging that things are awesome and the military is great, what is this actually communicating? Because the shitpost exists as an aspect of internet trolling, an attempt to derail the conversation for attention by devaluing the conversation itself. Its whole point is to say that the thing that you care about actually doesn't matter, and that I know that and I'm above it. Isn't it funny that we're in the know that the thing that we do doesn't really matter, and we're not taking it seriously? And yeah, you know what, maybe Wendy's isn't the most important job, and Violife might not be the most important job either. That's fine. But the government is a structure that objectively matters. They have nuclear weapons and a monopoly on violence. If even they have to show how irreverent they are, then how deep does the rot go? I think the fact that the US government too is optimizing for attention by undermining the importance of the thing that it is doing, the fact that it feels comfortable communicating in the same style of absurdity and nihilism that Wendy's does, I think that proves two things. Number one, we can't all be irreverent, it doesn't work. And number two, the algorithm is more powerful than the US government. Eisenhower's success changed the way that American politics work. Suddenly, American politics was much more about personality, accessibility, charm, looking good on camera. Now, 70 years later, everyone knows the lesson that Nixon learned, that as much as we'd like for it not to be the case, aesthetics and how you look actually make a big difference. Politicians and television was a sort of canary in the coal mine for a society that was about to spend a lot more time looking at themselves. But that vanity is already baked into my life and into yours. What are these posts downstream of? Iran's Lego post is crazy, and the Wii Sports Resort post is crazy too. Every moment on the internet feels crazy. The future is a weird place, and we're all living in it. Here's a video I just watched of a guy pepper spraying himself and then running a mile. Why'd he do that? Everyone is yelling for attention all of the time, and brands are in your comments acting like people, and I've been getting so many ads for Wendy's since I started making this video. How do you respond to a world like that in any way other than humor? I mean, on some level, you've got to do just a little shrug of your shoulders and say, well, I don't know what's going on either. We can't take it that seriously. But can we all do that? Shouldn't somebody be taking something seriously? Otherwise, what are we all engaging against? I get that across the board, the primary American value is being anti-authority and anti-establishment. But when even the establishment is anti-authority, doesn't it feel like we've kind of lost the plot a little bit? That maybe something needs to be more than just the sort of thing that your teacher would have told you off about for it to be good or correct? When every brand tweets like Wendy's, doesn't that make it less special? Like less interesting? Now it's just a billion-dollar company being kind of mean to people. Not to be too, we live in a society, but it's kind of like when those people at the Met Gala do those like wealth inequality, tax the 1% sort of things. It's like, dude, the call's coming from inside the house. That's you. We can't all be Bart Simpson. I'm sorry, if everyone's Bart Simpson, then nobody is. If there's no Principal Skinner to stand up to, then you're just kind of like, you're not being countercultural, you're just kind of being annoying. The whole bit is that they're shitposting, that they're not taking it seriously. But A, yes, they are taking it seriously. Like all 2026 online attempts at authenticity, it's peer-reviewed and actually probably takes more work. And B, they should be taking it seriously, and we should want them to. The problem is the people on Reddit or 4chan get to talk like this and then leave, but the government can't. It's there. Does this sort of post
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Shut up, Mom!
inspire any sort of confidence in an entity that you're going to have to continue interacting with? Not everyone's an underdog. Not everyone needs to be snarky or Bart Simpson. That's fine. And yes, there's lots of boring regular government communication out there, 100%. But this is just beginning to percolate. This is our I Like Ike. What's it going to look like 5 years from now, or 10 years, 40 years from now? How much less seriously can we all claim to be taking things? And it works for a while, but to me it reads as a fundamental misunderstanding of the goals of communication. The Iranian Lego video worked because they're not trying to rule, they're trying to sow discord, and the algorithm rewards you undermining things with attention. But you don't want to sow discord when you're on your home court and you're the US government. It's bad optics. You shouldn't be optimizing for attention. You should be optimizing for meaning. Optimizing for giving people something to buy into. Because just because something is absurd doesn't mean that it's not important. And a lot of the times, if people believe something's important, they can do great things. Napoleon. Probably the greatest military leader of all time. He was a genius tactician. His use of the corps system is legendary, but perhaps his greatest ability was his ability to convince his troops that they were participating in something bigger than themselves. Soldiers, from the top of these pyramids, 40 centuries look down upon you. That's something he said to his troops before the aptly titled Battle of the Pyramids. His enemies lost 10,000 men. He lost 300. After a battle, he would go to a regiment and ask who their bravest soldier was, and then he'd approach them and take his own medal off of his coat and give it to them. You call these baubles? Well, it is with baubles that men are led. Do you think that you would be able to make men fight by reasoning? Never. That is good only for the scholar in his study. The soldier needs glory, distinctions, rewards. And that may sound silly, but it worked. For almost 2 decades, he defeated larger armies motivated by gold in the ancient European families, by walking haggard, poor Frenchmen crisscross across the continent, by motivating them with their own place in history. I'm not saying our government should be doing that, I'm just saying that believing in things is really powerful. And when every aspect of society's apparatus is built around convincing us that nothing is sacred, that nothing has meaning, well, we really lose something. Because we're capable of imbuing importance onto almost anything if we all agree it's valuable. This is maybe my most boomer opinion, but a couple of years ago they made it so that NBA coaches didn't have to wear suits anymore. The coaches were happy, the suits were uncomfortable, and what does wearing a suit have to do with coaching a game? Nothing. But I still think they should have to wear them. Take away the suits, take away the fans wearing the same colored shirts, take away the logos in the middle of the court, and you get the NBA bubble. During COVID, the NBA ran its playoffs in a series of gyms at Disneyland. No distractions, no crowds. It was the most intense, purest hoops possible. That's what the players said. Now watch this all-time game winner by Luka.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer! Let's go! Luka!
It's a good moment. I mean, the audio's pumped in, but, whatever, it's nice. Now watch this.
Triggers in. James, 2 seconds, 1 second for the win. Ah! LeBron James delivers. That's a winner in Cleveland.
The NBA is a stupid thing. It's a bunch of grown men in costumes trying to put a ball in the basket. They should be the ones tweeting stuff like, lol, my boss wants me to get 50,000 likes on this, whatever. But they don't, because they know only through all of us collectively buying in does something become meaningful. Sports are stupid, they are absurd, they shouldn't be taken seriously, but they are. Put a dunk on in slow-mo, sit in your living room in the same colors as the guy dunking the ball, and suddenly the whole thing becomes a metaphor for the city that you love that you might not live in anymore, and probably your relationship with your father. Jim Abbott throws a baseball 100 times and nobody hits it once. Who cares? But then you watch it. Magic. It's all silly. Everything we do is. But I don't know why there's this societal rush to deconstruct and devalue everything all of us do all the time. I think part of it is because the size of one's voice is directly connected to how quickly you can adapt to new technologies and stay on top of things on the internet, which gives young people an outsized voice. Of course, a generation obsessed with staying young forever and terrified of being unk is scared to act like an adult, whatever. But we can't all be irreverent because most of us aren't. Everybody acts like they don't care, but I bet when one of those Wendy's people gets fired, they sit in their car and they cry for a little bit. And the White House is pouring over their analytics for those videos showing about how detached they are and how little they care, and everyone cries on their first heartbreak even though it probably wasn't going to go anywhere long term anyway, and grown men cry when their city's sports team puts the ball in the hoop less than the other teams. Or more. Just because it's made up doesn't mean it isn't important. It's like graduation or prom. Like, high schoolers love to complain about it. It's like, well, who cares? I've already earned the degree. Why should I have to walk across the stage? And it's like, it's not for you. It's for the parents. It's an opportunity to celebrate and appreciate all those dumb, absurd, meaningless minutes that all somehow came together that turned into you, and all the things that they care and love about you. It turns into life. It just increasingly feels like nobody is willing to be the adult in the room. Nobody wants to be, because we're not playing to other people anymore. We're playing to an algorithm, even when it comes at a cost to ourselves, even when you're the government of the most powerful country on the planet. Attention shouldn't be the baseline by which we measure whether things are valuable or not. It shouldn't be the primary vector for success. You're the government. Wear a suit, act like your job matters, capitalize your sentences, and don't bring Master Chief into this. And guess what? Wendy's is closing a ton of stores. Their CEO is calling it a rebuilding year. Turns out there are things that are more important than being funny and detached online. There's a real world out there too. Special thanks to my Patreons: John Howard, Parker Burgett, JP King, August Kitten, Anders Hour, Cody Constantine, Santi, Nathan Hawk, Julian Langiotti, Chelsea Hawk, Toral Azzolini, Stephanie, Piano, John Wallace Clark, Joanne Luna, Joel Crooks, Logan Robinson, Ariel Jimenez, LNW, Justin Bassett Green, Chiro Yakubowitz, Peter C. Hayward, Justin Mangus, Matthew Contman, Matsky, ZEL, Aaron Windler, Marcus Aether Holt, Paul Johnson, Joey Ahern, Sophie Hawk, Tabitha Wynn, Jason Keen, Elijah B, Matt Hammy, Jazzbeat, Tegan Lillyberg, Julia Carey, Monkey Johnson, Matthew B, Rinny, Isaac Kelly, and Nate Sivarapu.